Hi, it's Rosie. Welcome to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about slouching and unslouching. I did a post on Facebook about how it doesn't really matter what you sit on. Like there's this uh, belief that if you sit on a birth ball or one of the ball chairs or on the floor, that it will automatically improve your sitting posture. And I just wanted to come on and say that that's not necessarily true, because your postural habits will follow you whatever you're doing. And you actually have to make the effort to change your posture in order to sit, stand, and move better. Um, so if we look at, and um, on uh, the one of the posts I put, somebody asked about how to unslouch, and would the the devices that you can get in chemists and things, the postural correction where you kind of put a harness around your shoulders and it kind of pulls you into a better position, whether that would be a good thing to get. And I said no. um, so I just wanted to go through. I wanted to give you explain a little bit about what causes slouching, and then give you 5 tips on unslouching. I'm sure there's a better word for unslouching, but I'm going to go with that. So I just wanted to show you what the post I was doing was. A birth ball, a bit squishy, but really easy to slouch on this. If you try and improve your posture just by lifting your back, you are creating pressure on your lumbar spine, and you'll end up with backache here and probably backache in your shoulders. You're trying to sort of hold yourself in um, a position that's not natural, and that's trying to compensate for just tightness and tension elsewhere in your body. And that would be the same if you put one of these devices on that kind of hold you into position. It lifts you up, which makes it look like you're in an upright position, but you're still thrusting out your chest, you're still hollowing your back and overextending your upper back, which creates pressure here and here. It doesn't relieve the pressure on your coccyx and sacrum, so it still leaves that open to being injured. You've got pressure on your pelvic floor, pressure on your abdominal muscles, and also limits the your breathing. So those are like a sticking plaster on a problem. There's no quick fix for unslouching. It's not. There's not going to be a magic wand which helps you. It is like a whole body kind of program of undoing all the poor postural habits that you've been um, doing for the last however many years. So it is easy to unslouch on one of these chairs, and it's all about how you sit down. So rather than just kind of lumping down onto the back of your pelvis, if you stick your bum out and take your bum down first, it sits you in a better position. You can see I'm more upright straight away. And that's just naturally happened because I've untucked my pelvis. So you can see the movement is like you're going down into a squat. So it's a really great um, exercise to get up and down this way, because you're starting to strengthen your glutes and your hamstrings and getting you on like the first steps of a squat program. So let's have a look at what you're trying to do when you are getting an unslouched position. What's happening is, because we all spend so much time here driving, on the computer, reading books, on the phone, um, cooking, everything's at this height. Our arms are always at this height. And so to compensate for the tiredness that we get, we start to, it causes us to hunch over to start with, because we don't always have the strength in our backs, and no one would, to hold this position for hours a day, which is what's happening. What happens then is your arms are getting weaker because they're being held in that position. So you're starting to use your upper back to do most of the work, which causes the thrust chest position. But I'm going too far. I'm going far too quickly. The slouch position is partially caused by our need to always be in this position because of what our lifestyle, what our convenience-rich lifestyle does for us. It's all at a certain height. We don't have to get down, squat down, and up again. So, you know, it's thinking about changing your habits. That's where the lifestyle changes come in. Changing your habits as to where you work and how you work. So the first thing you need to think about is your rib and your pelvic alignment. If you pop your hands on your ribs, you'll feel the bony part of your ribs just in the center there. Hands on your hips and you will feel a bony section just here, just under your fingers. Now those 2 points on both sides need to line up. If you find that your ribs are further forwards, then you need to just bring them down so that they are level. Now it feels and it might look like you're slouched over again, but that is because you're so stiff and tight at the top here that your body can't literally straighten, and those are where the exercises will come in a second. So that's the first thing. I always want you to think about getting your dropping your ribs or rolling your ribs down so they are in line with your pelvis, and that gives you your natural position in your back. The second thing I want you to think about, and this I can show you this really easily. Normally when we sit on a chair, and most chairs are designed for us to kind of sit in a slouched position. If from here you try and unslouch, what you're doing is you're just thrusting your chest forward. Can you see that? You're creating that compression in the lower back. You're stopping your breathing. You're having to hold yourself here by your spine, your shoulders, which actually makes you more tired and causes more aches and more pains. So a really, really simple thing to do is I use a half dome. These are really, really good investment, half foam rollers, or you can just use a rolled up towel. You're just putting it underneath your sits bones and rolling forwards. So look, from a slouch position, I'm just rolling forwards on this half dome. I'm looking at the points to line up are the hip bones that we just found earlier and your pubic bone. They need to be in a line. And you're automatically sitting up straight. And can you see that my chest isn't thrusting upwards? I'm not having to hold myself in this position. It's just naturally happened because I've got my pelvis in neutral and everything else can just stack up really nicely. So really, really simple thing that you can do, and you can do that right now. You can go and find yourself a towel or blanket or something, you know, roll up your jumper, just tuck it under your hip, under your seat bones, so that you can just roll forwards into a neutral pelvis. Sorted. So what else can you do to start strengthening your upper back so that you can start to hold yourself in this aligned position, and you can start to make changes of using your arms more, your shoulders less. So the first exercise is really, really simple, and it's called painting the globe. So have your hands down by your side. We're just going to mark the space we're going to use. Hands down by your sides, hands up. I'm going to squat down, and hands up by your head. So you can see this is all the space that your arms can move. So I want you to imagine that you've got a globe around you. Someone's dropped a glass dome on your head, and you're just going to imagine that you've got paintbrushes and you're going to paint all around the globe. So you're going to paint right up to the top, right down to the bottom. So you're just starting to get more movement and mobility in the shoulder joint. Once you started to get used to that movement, I then want you to think about making sure that your ribs and your pelvis are aligned as you do the movement. And you might find that by doing this, you can't move your arm quite so high up. That's fine. Rib, pelvic alignment, and then doing the movement as where you are. This is the key, not overstretching. You will start to develop more mobility in the shoulders and find that you can gradually go higher and higher whilst still keeping that nice alignment. Let me just check my notes so I don't go off tangent. Yeah, two more things. So the next one is to thinking about using, so a lot of the movement classes I do are all about using your body parts separately. We tend to get into this habit of always using multiple parts of our body together so that we create stiffness. And what can happen here is that you use your torso, your upper body, as one chunk. So when your upper back moves, your ribs, your sternum also moves. So I want you to practice moving your sternum without moving your upper back. So let's progress this from the start. If you just bring your head down, and first of all, just lift your head using your spine. And I want you to feel what's happening in your body. Feel where your chest is pushing out. Feel the compression down in your lower back and feel like a tension here in your tummy. That's you using, so all we're doing is wanting you to kind of lift your head. And you're using your whole upper body to do that. The next thing I want you to do is to lift your head with just here, from hinging here, and lift it up high so you're looking ahead. But what you're doing is compressing the cervical vertebrae. You're creating tension and pressure and thinking about those vertebrae squashing against each other. So you don't really want to move that way either. So what you're thinking about doing is you want to get up to looking at the eye line, but you only want to move here. Keep the back straight and keep the head in this position. And you're just moving your chest up until you're looking forwards. So it's a different movement. It might take you a little while to kind of get into the habit of that, but that is going to start to unslouch you. You can see that immediately. You're just using your sternum to move the top of your body. And the last exercise we're going to look at is what's called the rhomboid push-up, which is a really great exercise to start to unstick the muscles in your upper back. I'm just going to move the camera down so I don't know whether you can, oh, I think you might be able to see me. Let me put you down here. Yeah, so what you're going to do is you're just thinking about moving the scapulars. So you're going to press your hands into the floor and you're just going to think about your scapulars moving apart. So it's not this, it's not a cat movement. It's pushing down with your hands into the ground until you feel yourself raising up and you feel your scapulars moving apart. Then you're going to sink down so that they come back together again. And this isn't a cow move. It is just the scapulars coming back together. So you're pushing up and coming back down again. Now, once you've got the hang of that movement, this is something that you can do. All three of these exercises, things that you can do every day. I want you to think about making sure that your elbow pits are facing forwards, your fingers are wide as you do this exercise, and you're just going to come up and down. I also want you to think about your rib and pelvic alignment, but you know, we build. Oh, let me come back up. We build the exercises in stages. So the idea is you get the hang of the movement, then you start building the one bit of alignment and then another bit of alignment. You can see how it all kind of starts fitting together and unslouching, getting more mobility in the upper back, which will then help you get some more mobility and strength in your arms. So the things that we covered are the rib pelvis alignment. Then we looked at bolstering when you sit and how to sit down so that you're bringing yourself into a neutral pelvis as you sit. So that's the squat sitting. We looked at the paint the globe exercise, the lifting the sternum without moving the back or the neck, and the rhomboid push-up. So that's 5 things that you can be doing to start to improve your posture and make yourself start to have a better alignment. Once you have a better alignment, you're starting to move better, you're getting better circulation, you're getting better strength, you're getting better mobility. It's just all starts to build on top of each other. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. So if you're interested in kind of taking this further and doing more work and really getting into natural movement and alignment, then you might be interested in my 5-a-day program, which is an online course. You have an exercise every week that's broken down for you. I show you how to perform it properly, keeping in alignment. Give you some ideas of how to fit that exercise into your day, because it's not about taking time to exercise, it's about how many times you've moved different parts of your body within the day. So I'll give you some ideas of where you can fit this exercise into your day. You then get a week to practice it, and then we'll move on to another exercise, and I do it in stages. So we've looked at the feet, we'll look at the ankles, the knees, and so on. So you're kind of building up the movements, and you also get a routine. So once we've done all the exercises for the feet, I'll give you a little routine so that if you've got 10 minutes spare, you can do a whole routine on your feet. That's just £10 a month. For that you get a video every single week, so that's 4 or 5 videos depending on how many Mondays there are in the month. You have access to a group where you can discuss any problems or issues you might be having, or just eureka moments where you're suddenly getting more mobility. Yeah, so I will leave a link down below for you if you're interested in that. Otherwise, have a great rest of the day, and good luck with starting to unstick your slouch. All right, bye bye.